Hello folks, in this video we're going to see about Git Hooks and I'm going to be using a tool called Husky. So this tool is useful when you're in NodeJs projects. So uh, let's get started. So Husky is written in JavaScript and it works in NodeJs projects, and you can go ahead and look at its documentation over here. So I've opened it up here. So if you notice, the version 5 of Husky is actually only for open source projects. It's free for open source. Um, and for commercial projects, you will have to sponsor Husky. Um, that is only for version 5. But there is a version 4 that is free to use for any project. So I'm going to go ahead and choose version 4 for now. And okay, so what are we trying to do over here? So Husky is a tool to help you use Git hooks and use them in an easy manner. So usually, to actually set up Git hooks, you will have to first understand how that works. If you're using Husky, not so much, but yeah, it's really good to know how it works. So Husky is just a wrapper around helping you to create Git commit hooks or Git push hooks and more. So any Git hooks. So let's see an example to understand what it really does. So to get started, I have a Node.js project here. Um, so I have an index.js and I have a package.json and a test.js. So in the index.js, I have defined a sum function which sums two values. And I have a test function which has just one test to check if the sum function works properly. So I say sum of 1 comma 2 should be 3, and I do an assertion over here. So if you run this node test.js, it runs, and if I make some mistake in this function, let's say I just do this, it will throw out an error. So I need to run my tests to ensure that any code that I write is correct. Um, so this is the use case that I have. So you can either manually run your tests every time you make a mistake or make a change, sorry, so that you know that you are not making any mistake. Or what you could do is whenever you do a git commit, you can actually run your tests, or whenever you're doing a git push, you can run your tests. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be using Git hooks to be able to automatically run my tests, which is this command node test, or I can also run it like this, and automatically run this whenever I do a git commit or a git push. So let's see how Husky helps with this. So I can do npm install Husky and then save developer dependency. If you're using yarn, you can use that too. You can say yarn add and add it as a developer dependency. So I've added Husky, and if you notice when you install Husky, it says so actually I had already tried out Husky in this repo, so that's why it's saying uninstalling Git hooks, and then it's again setting up Git hooks. So if you're using it for the first time, it would just say setting up Git hooks and then done. So, and it has some funding related details, and that's it. So if you check out, you will have your changes in package.json as a developer dependency over here, and you'll also have dependencies in your package log.json. So now, if you have not tried out Git hooks before, I would recommend you to. So you can go ahead and check out what Git hooks are. And so there are also some custom sites, but this is the official site talking about Git hooks. Um, I am guessing that Git hooks reference book. Hmm. I'm guessing this is the main page for it. So yeah, so this is your firing of custom scripts using Git hooks. So what you would do in this case is, one sec. Okay, so this is very short intro about Git hooks, I think. So the different kinds of hooks that are present in Git are actually present in this page. I will put the links in description. So we are going to be using the hook called pre-commit, which means before committing, I want to run something. In this case, I want to run my tests. But you can bypass it using something called no verify. And I also want to, so there is also something called post commit in a lot of them. So I also want to run my tests before pushing, so pre-push. And again, this can be bypassed by a no verify option. So let's go ahead and try it out. So I have actually run Husky, and you can find the Git hooks in your .git directory. So you can find over here a lot of hooks, and here if I choose the Git hook for pre-commit, you can see that there is code for Husky over here, um, and actually there is a code for everything. Um, there is also code for pre-push. So there is a hook for every Git hook. So these are all these different scripts. So this is what is run when you actually do a commit. Before the commit this runs, before the push this runs. Okay. So currently we are going to be using pre-commit and pre-push. This is all auto-generated code, so you don't really have to look at this. And now let's actually set up our pre-commit hook. So after installing, you can actually just go to your package.json and put this line of code, and so this is just different hooks. So I'm only using these two. um, so I won't run tests, so this is perfect actually, npm test, and this will run this for me. And I also want to run my tests before pushing. Okay, so now that I have actually made changes for Husky, I can actually add and then say, you know, git commit add Husky. So I put that. So you can see that even for this commit, Husky is actually running my tests. Now let's make a change in my index.js such that there is a mistake in the code that the test finds out. I say git add git status, and I say git commit you know improve some function performance, just an example. So Husky runs my pre-commit hook. So before committing with this message, it runs the test using npm test, so no test runs, and I get an assertion message saying, hey, 1 plus 2 should be 3. That is my message from here. And it says that the actual was 4 but the expected is 3, and it fails. And it says pre-commit hook failed, add no verify to bypass, and you can see that the commit has not been made. You can see that it is still there over here. So this is pretty good, and if you want to really bypass this, you can do that, but I wouldn't recommend it. So git commit improve, and you can just say no verify, and it would just go ahead and do it. But I wouldn't recommend it. So yeah, please don't do it. as much as possible. Um, and another thing to note is Git. So we also have pre-push, Git hook, not just pre-commit. So this runs before the commit. So I was just committing it, ran it. Before pushing, also you can run tests to ensure that any code that you push to the remote repository in Git is tested and works well and has no bugs. So I'm going to actually check out this change because this has an issue. If you notice, I have a Git remote repo. I'm going to push and let's see what it does actually. Origin main, and so when I'm pushing, you can see that Husky actually runs pre-push and runs the node test.js, and then after it is run successfully, then only it pushes. Let's actually see if I make a mistake, does it push or not. So let me make a mistake here, and let's say I bypass my uh, like I bypass and say I didn't add it. So git add index.js. Let's say I bypass the git pre-hook. Like, so here it is running the pre-commit hook, um, and I'm not able to commit. So let's say I bypass it, which I shouldn't, but let's say I just bypass it. What happens now is if I try to push now, um, okay, origin name, and I can do to set up stream, and so now it's going to run pre-push, and I can bypass here too actually. So I'm doing a git push, and before pushing pre-push, it runs my tests as I mentioned over here, npm test, and it runs, yes, but there is a failure, so it fails, and it says pre-push hook failed, and it says failed to push some references. And if you check your git log, you will notice that your origin main, your remote repository is still uh, only having the older commit, but and it's pointing to that, but your new commits are not yet pushed. So I can bypass this using no verify, but I'm not going to do it. So yeah, the best thing is to actually not use this, but to avoid or to prevent someone from using this, you can't do this from your client side. So anyone could easily use this new verify. So what I would recommend is you should have a continuous integration pipeline behind the scenes in your backend, so that whenever you push to the remote repository, your continuous integration pipeline server runs tests and fails, so that everyone, so if you're working in a team, everyone in the team knows that there is an issue. So if someone bypasses this, you will still have a red flag from your continuous integration pipeline. So if you don't know what that is, I would recommend you to go and check it out. Google or use a search engine to check out continuous integration and continuous integration pipeline. So that's all I had for today, and thank you. And I am going to reset the bad commits and say bye. Bye bye.